Every 2 minutes, someone is recorded missing. 95% are found safe and well within 48 hours. But around 2,500 people each year are still missing 12 months later.
It was Easter week. He said, I'm going to his mates at Mile End for the weekend, and I said, so he said, but I'm back on Sunday because I've got work Monday. And then on the Thursday evening, which was the 8th of April, I just said, have a good weekend. Don't leave it too late on Sunday. Get it back. And he never got to where he was going. Nobody's seen or heard from him since.
Oh no, I took a video, boy.
5 years ago, Matthew Green, on the right here, vanished from his home in Sittingbourne, Kent. As far as his parents know, he wasn't in any trouble and there was no big family row. His bedroom hasn't been touched since that day.
On the Wednesday, when I went into the police station, I felt stupid, I think, for want of a better word. So I thought, he's 26 and I'm coming here to report him missing. And I said, but I don't know if I'm doing right or wrong, you know, or if he is missing, and I don't want to waste your time or anything. But he's not been in contact since last Friday when he left.
Which was totally out of the ordinary.
And then they wanted to come to the house to have a look at his room and see if there was anything there that might show up, anything.
Any clues of, you know.
Which is where they found his phone, which was totally unusual because at that time it was like this all the time. It was super glued to their ears.
He would never ever leave his phone, and that was when the alarm bells started ringing. Something's not right.
Matthew didn't just leave his phone behind. He took his passport, his birth certificate and £1,700 in cash he'd been saving. His parents have spent 5 years following every lead.
The past 5.5 years have been, for want of a better word, hell. And quite a few people have said to me, oh, you're a strong person. And I think, you don't know me. You don't see me when I lock myself in the bathroom at night and I can cry. And makes me feel better. And then you can continue. You just carry on.
I mean, I've done 30 years plus in the Kent Fire and Rescue Service. I resolved a lot of problems for different people, different families. But the hardest thing that I feel, I can't resolve this. And at the end of the day, I look at it and say, well, why can't I do it? I've done it for all these other people, and I'm saying to me, I'm sorry, girl, I don't know what the answer is, and I can't give you the answer. I can't, you know, wave a magic wand and spread that magic sprinkle dust and make it everything better, because it won't go away until we find him.
If someone dies in traumatic circumstances, there is support for the family, and however hard, there is a resolution. The families of the missing don't always get the same attention from the media, from local authorities, or from the police.
Certainly those early days, it's all about getting the message out there. It's all about getting the missing persons back as quickly as possible. Families who are in this situation, sadly, months and sometimes years later, would say to us, the waiting and the not knowing is like some kind of devastating trauma. Very, very hard to move on. Lots of families would say to us, how can I go out? How can I go on holiday? How could I ever move house? Even years later, what if they come back?
In a handful of these cases, there is no resolution, not even a hint of what happened.
Just full of life, love life. She didn't like restrictions. She didn't like being told what to do and what not to do. So when Dad said you had to be in by a certain time, that meant nothing to Mary.
Mary Flanagan is the oldest missing person case in the history of the Met Police. She left home aged 16 on New Year's Eve 1959 and was never seen again. She worked here at the giant Tate & Lyle sugar refinery in the East End of London and told her family she was going to a party there that night.
Well, the next morning, when Mum got up, she'd realised that Mary hadn't come home. So they went to the firm, but when they got there, they had a shock of their life. She hadn't been to work for 2 weeks.
Her sister Brenda was just 8 years old at the time. Back then, there was no DNA testing, no phone records. Mary did have a boyfriend, a man called Tom, but more than half a century later, his whereabouts and even his surname are lost.
Well, the thing that comes to our minds, the siblings, and I'm sure it was a mum and dad's mind, was she pregnant? You know, because that would have been the worst thing, coming home at 16 to say, Mum, Dad, I'm pregnant. Dad would have hit the roof, but he would have come down, he would have calmed down, and he would have supported her.
What were your parents going through around that time?
Hell. I can't think how else to explain it. Dad sort of wouldn't talk about her a lot. Mum wanted to talk about her, and obviously we was young, we wanted to talk. Where's her sister? You know, we knew we had a sister missing, although we was young. Nobody can find her, you know, not even no leads. So, but then my heart, something in my heart was just telling me, she's there, but we need to let her know we want her in our lives.
In the 80s and again more recently, police searched the National Insurance Database. Mary's number has never been used. In 2013, when she would or could have turned 70, the case was reopened. There were posters printed and newspaper articles written, but again, nothing.
It's still raw. It's still, especially when there's special times of the year, you know, so there's still that element of it. And time's getting on, we're all getting older, you know, and you know, something's got to happen before it's too late for any of us.
Mary Flanagan might be unique, but there are thousands of other people missing in the UK for a year or more. Every one of those cases is life-changing, not just for the person who disappeared, but for the families left behind.